All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for starting the meeting a little bit late here. I had some tech issues. I want to make sure I don't blame my tech team or any of the administration. It was all 100% me. And that's what happens when you have 17 different passwords for things. But we got it. We got it moving forward. All right. Let's get rolling. I'd like to call the Plaquemines Parish Regular School Board meeting May 8th, 2025 to order at 5:04 p.m. We'll start off with our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. I'm very excited to have our invocation person come up and speak for us here at the podium. Tonight we have someone who I've known for quite a long time and is just a fantastic individual, if I say so myself. It's Reverend Nancy Day. She is an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church with a Master of Divinity degree from Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. She faithfully served in the pastoral ministry for over 30 years before retiring from full-time service in the Rio, Texas Conference. After moving to New Orleans with her husband, Casey Taylor, who is also here tonight, she answered God's call once again and now serves as the interim pastor at Love Evangelical Lutheran Church on MacArthur Boulevard. With a heart for ministry and a deep love for God's people, Nancy is passionate about sharing the transforming grace of Jesus Christ in every setting. Over the years, she and Casey have volunteered in many meaningful ways, including their longtime service with Kingdom Camp in Texas, a ministry for developmentally challenged adults. She also serves as commissioner in charge for Orleans Parish elections, works as needed with Edward Jones, and volunteers with the French Quarter and Satchmo festivals. Nancy finds joy in reading, walking on the levee, watching movies, listening to music, and savoring Casey's cooking, all gifts that enrich her spirit and renew her for service. So, Miss Nancy, Reverend Day, thank you for coming tonight. Everybody, I'd like to stand and do tonight's invocation. Reverend Day, take it away.
Thank you for the invitation. It is a privilege to be here. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we gather this evening with hearts full of gratitude. We thank you for sustaining our students, our teachers, and our families throughout this school year. We know that every school year is filled with challenges and successes, yet we are grateful for your presence in each and every one. In every classroom, office, and bus route, you have been present, offering your grace, your wisdom, your patience, and your courage. As this school year draws to a close, we ask your blessing on the journey ahead for each administrator and employee, each student and teacher. May this summer bring much needed rest and renewal for all. And may the seeds of learning continue to take root and grow within each of us. I ask, dear Lord, that you be with this school board tonight as they reflect, as they make decisions, and as they lead. Grant them discernment in their discussions, in their decisions. May they have unity in purpose and a deep sense of service for all Plaquemines Parish children and families. Let all that they do here tonight bring honor and glory to you and hope to our community. In Jesus Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Reverend Day, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I'd now like to call up Miss Inaya, excuse me, I knew I was going to mess it up. I apologize. Inaya Walker for our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Thank you. Ms. Walker and Reverend Day, thank y'all so much for contributing to our meeting. We really appreciate it. Great to see a student. Great to see a community member. Thank y'all. All right, Dr. Ritz, let's do a roll call.
Yes, sir. District 1, Mr. Erlen DeMall Turner.
Here.
District 2, Ms. Jamie K. Sauer.
Here.
District 3, President, Mr. Nico Tusvich.
Present.
District 4, Ms. Christy Arbrough.
Here.
District 5, Ms. Michelle Lindner.
Here.
District 6, Ms. Jennifer Shelley.
Here.
District 7, Mr. Bobby Ingraham.
Here.
District 8, Mr. Paul Lemaire.
Here.
District 9, Ms. Jennifer Sanger. Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Ritz. Let's move on to the approval of our agenda. And I'd like to remind whoever makes a motion for this, the items that say item added after publication of agenda, they should be read aloud as a change to tonight's agenda. So do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
With the addendums?
Yes.
You need to read the addendums, please.
Item 2.02, Proclamation Teacher Appreciation Week, Aaron Kosei, BCE, Teacher of the Year. Item added after publication of agenda. 2.03, Proclamation National Speech Language Hearing Month, Shiloh Shoemaker. 2024 to 2025 PPSB School Health Service Provider of the Year. Item added after publication of agenda. 2.04, Proclamation National School Nurse Day, Rebecca Amos, Nurse Coordinator. Item added after publication of agenda.
4.07.
Oh, I'm so sorry. 4.07, discussion and/or action in regard to a travel request for BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp in Hot Springs, Arkansas, June 5th through 9th, 2025. Millicent Russell, BCHS cheer coach. Item added after publication of agenda. 4.08, discussion and/or action in regard to a travel request for BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp at the University of Alabama, June 27th through 29th, 2025. Millicent Russell, BCHS cheer coach. Item added after publication of agenda. 4.09, discussion and/or action in regard to a request for school board approved transportation for BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, June 27th through 29th, 2025. Millicent Russell, BCHS cheer coach. Item added after publication of agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Arbor. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sauer. Any comments? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to item 2, or section 2, which is our recognitions and/or presentations. 2.01, recognition of 2024-2025 District Teachers of the Year, presented by Jamie Blanchard, Chief Academic Officer, AKA CAO.
Good evening, Board. For the
Evening.
presentation tonight, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Chris Leopold from the Belle Chase High School Rotary Foundation of Belle Chase, along with Dr. Shelley Ritz.
Sounds good. Mr. Leopold, you have the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and on behalf of the Belle Chase Rotary Club Foundation, we're here to make a presentation for the 2 Teachers of the Year for this past year that you all are familiar with at the wonderful gala we had back in November. The elementary school Teacher of the Year is Miss Erin Kosei, and the high school Teacher of the Year is Benita Stevens. And they were given an amount the night of the event, but the whole goal of the endowment is to use the funds that are gained in the endowment. So we have additional checks to give to these 2 recipients. There's normally 3, and this year they only had 2. So there will be 15 other checks that all the other recipients will get as well. But before we do that, I want to recognize some of the other Rotarians in the room, and they can come forward when we make the presentation, is Kim Turlich-Vaughn, Trey Ann Sardi, and well, Leo is a Rotarian, excuse me, but he's got a dual purpose here. He's got a dual purpose here. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But so at this time, I'm under the assumption that these 2 teachers are here. Is that correct? Okay. So at this time, I'd like for those 2 teachers, as well as the Rotarians here, to come forward to make these check presentations.
give a further explanation. Go for it. I'll give a further explanation about what happened with the money. So the way that we do this, I pledged a while back 50 grand with a match, right? And we've far exceeded that because the galas have been so successful. So the idea is for this to carry on in perpetuity. So we'll take the interest from the endowment, right? We won't touch the principal from the endowment, but we'll take the interest and we'll divide it by 3. Well, this year, because we only had 2 recipients, we're going to take the third, and we're going to divide it by all the other nominees, right? Now, Chris had fallen sick right before the gala this year, and so he wasn't able to do the calculation. The calculation is to take the interest from the previous 4 quarters or the previous 12 months. We take 70% of that so we can keep some in the coffer, and then we divide that by 3. So we gave them a $1,000 check at the gala without having our calculation. So we knew that we'd have more money. So they were pretty elated with $1,000, and really the final amount, and I'll just leave it to you guys to show. So the final amount. So again, we're trying to show appreciation for the teachers and the hard work that you do. We want to make sure that, when the joke is, congratulations, Teacher of the Year, here's your pamphlet, here's your booklet. Hopefully this is a little motivation for all those, for you and everyone else behind you. And we hope that you spend it well and it brightens your lives and the lives that you touch. So thank you for what y'all do.
Dr. Ritz has some special awards for our diamond sponsors. 2 of 3 that are here, and Mr. Leo Palazzo stepped up both years, but this year especially, Leo donated $20,000. He's also a Rotarian, and we have a plaque for Leo here. It's a picture of you and Dana at the event itself. We also have one for Timmy Cubion, who started all of this many years ago. And this is, I'm just looking at the picture now. This is especially means a lot because Jimmy Carlone is in the picture with you, Timmy. This is for you. And just as important as our third sponsor is Carl and Julie Panabiango. I hope I said that right, but y'all are familiar with him. He's been given to this school for years, and he's an alum, as Timmy is, as well. So thank you, and we look forward to next year's gala, which is already on the plans. It's going to be bigger and better than before.
Nancy, I think, just walked in. Nancy Taylor.
She's got the actual checks. She got caught in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then?
While they're taking the pictures, I just want to make note of the time. A lot of time people who are very busy professionals and they have careers that are very demanding, for them to take their time out and actually come visit the teachers in the schools, that is worth it. And by having 2 of the big donors come tonight, it lets us know that they're really invested in what we do, and we appreciate them for that.
Don't make the checks too big.
Said no one ever.
Thought about the fake ones.
All I want to say is I love you guys.
Thank you.
And I love Plaquemines Parish. Thank you guys.
We appreciate you being part of this.
So yes, congratulations to our Teachers of the Year. We appreciate it. Thank you to our community partners, Rotary Club, Cuvion, Palazzo, Hard Rock. Thank you. Appreciate all that y'all do in order to keep this program a success and have that little extra incentive for our teachers. We definitely appreciate that, and thank you for all that. All right, let's move on to item number 2.02, which is a proclamation for Teacher Appreciation Week. Miss Erin Kosey, who was just up there, we'll ask her to come back up. BCE Teacher of the Year.
And I think it's important to recognize that from our office and from y'all, I think it's important to see the faces of the people that we're making these special notes and proclamations for. So we have both the Teacher of the Year, as well as the nurse, and as well as one of the speech pathologists, but all the other speech pathologists came in to support her as well. Thank you, Ms. Kosei.
Thank you. I don't know if I could do this after getting that big check. The Plaquemines Parish School Board proclamation for Teacher Appreciation Week states, whereas teachers play a critical role in shaping the future of our children, serving as mentors, role models, and advocates for student learning and success. And whereas the dedicated educators of Plaquemines Parish work tirelessly to provide high-quality instruction, foster a love of learning, and help students develop the knowledge and skills they need to reach their full potential. And whereas during Teacher Appreciation Week, we honor and celebrate the passion, creativity, commitment of our teachers who impact lives every day in our classrooms and beyond. And whereas the Plaquemines Parish School Board recognizes the significant and lasting contributions that teachers make in our schools and throughout the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Plaquemines Parish School Board, do hereby proclaim the week of May 5th through 9th, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week in Plaquemines Parish, and encourage all students, parents, staff, and community members to join in expressing gratitude and support for the outstanding educators who dedicate their lives to teaching. Dr. Shelley Ritz, the undersigned superintendent of Plaquemines Parish Schools, do hereby certify that the above and foregoing is the true copy of the proclamation approved at its regular school board meeting on May 8th, 2025.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kosei. It's always great seeing all the Facebook posts and hearing stuff in the community about the things that are all involved with Teacher Appreciation Week. We do appreciate you because you are educating the future. So let's move on to item 2.03, which is a proclamation for National Speech Language Hearing Month. Shiloh Shoemake, 2024-2025 PPSB School Health Service Provider of the Year.
Good evening. I need my glasses. Sorry.
So do I, Ms. Shoemake. I get it.
This is a proclamation for National Speech Language Month by the Plaquemines Parish School Board. Whereas each year, during the month of May, the American Speech Language Hearing Association promotes National Speech Language Hearing Month to raise awareness about communication disorders and hearing health. And by whereas each year during the month of May, speech language pathologists and audiologists throughout Louisiana and the nation make a special effort to inform, educate, and raise public awareness of speech, language, and hearing disorders. And whereas school-based speech language pathologists, audiologists, and teachers of the deaf, hard of hearing dedicate their lives to helping children and students in need and providing support in schools across our district. And whereas these professionals are essential to each school's exceptional student education team and are invaluable support resources for schools and parents. Now, therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the Plaquemines Parish School Board, do hereby proclaim the month of May as National Speech Language Month and encourage school administrators, teachers, students, and community members throughout Plaquemines Parish to recognize and support the vital contributions of speech language pathologists. These professionals play a critical role in helping individuals develop and regain speech and language abilities, as well as in promoting essential cognitive communication skills. Dr. Shelley Ritz, the Superintendent of Plaquemines Parish Schools, does hereby certify that the above foregoing is a true copy of a proclamation approved at its regular school board meeting on May 8th, 2025.
We can go on to the next one.
Okay. Any comments? I'm just checking, Dr. Ritz.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. All right, let's move on to number 2.04, which is a proclamation for National School Nurse Day. Ms. Rebecca Amos, Nurse Coordinator, you have the mic.
Good evening. Proclamation National School Nurse Day, May 7th, 2025. Whereas students are the future, and by investing in them today, we are ensuring our world for tomorrow. And whereas families deserve to feel confident that their children will be cared for when they are at school, and whereas all students have a right to have their physical and mental health needs safely met while in a school setting, and whereas students today face more complex and life-threatening health problems recurring care in school, and whereas school nurses have served a critical role in improving public health and ensuring students' academic success for more than 120 years. And whereas school nurses address the home and community factors, such as social determinants that impact students' health. And whereas school nurses are professional nurses that advance the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievements of all students by serving on the front lines and providing a critical safety net for our nation's most fragile children. And where school nurses act as a liaison to the school community, families, and healthcare providers on behalf of children's health by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for our nation's children. And whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care where children's cognitive development is at its peak. And whereas school nurses are members of school-based teams such as School Health Services, 504, IEP, Disaster Emergency Planning, providing care coordination to address the school's population. And whereas the school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in the position to make a positive difference for children every day. Therefore, it to be resolved that the National Association of School Nurses celebrate and acknowledge the accomplishment of school nurses everywhere, and that their efforts to meet the needs of today's students by providing and advocating for quality student-centered care, and offer gratitude for the nation's school nurses who contribute to our local communities by supporting students to stay healthy, in schools safe and ready to learn, and keeping parents and guardians at work, not just on this National School Nurse Day, but in every opportunity throughout the year. Now, therefore, Dr. Shelley Ritz, Superintendent of Plaquemines Parish Schools in the state of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 as School Nurses Day in Plaquemines Parish, and encourage all citizens to recognize and honor the vital contributions of school nurses.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nurse Becky. Appreciate that. Or excuse me, Nurse Amos, excuse me. Fantastic that we got to, appreciate the teachers, have a proclamation on the teachers that emphasizes learning, something about speech and communication, the ability to learn and communicate what you've learned. And then, of course, also having something for the health of our students is fantastic. So those are three great proclamations we had here back to back to back tonight. Board members, any other comments before we move on? Okay, well, hearing none, let's move on to our consent agenda items. Our consent agenda items, committee meetings were held on Monday, April 21st, 2025 at the district's Woodland Central Office, located at 1484 Woodland Highway, Room 100, Belchase, Louisiana. Based on the recommendations made by each respective committee, the following items are being presented to the full board for approval. And I would just like to note that the chairman of the Finance Committee is Ms. Christy Arborough, and the chair of the Policy Committee is Ms. Jamie Sauer. Moving on, 3.01, board members, if you would like to pull an item for discussion, Please let me know after I read it aloud. Otherwise, it will move on to the consent agenda, and we'll vote on them all in globo. 3.01, Finance, discussion and/or action in regard to the approval of new transportation coordinator job description. Superintendent Dr. Ritz. The recommendation is to approve new transportation coordinator job description as presented. 3.02, Finance, discussion and/or action in regard to, does anyone want to pull 3.01? Okay. 3.02, Finance, discussion and/or action in regard to approval of Plaquemines Parish Schools Work-Ready Internship Pilot for summer 2025, budget and job descriptions. CAO Jamie Blanchard and CTE Supervisor Tara Means. The recommendation is to approve Plaquemines Parish Schools Work-Ready Pilot budget and job descriptions.
I'll pull that item.
Okay. Ms. Arbor has pulled item 3.02 for discussion. And just to confirm, Ms. Blanchard and Ms. Means, y'all are okay speaking on that issue tonight? Thank you. 3.03, Finance, discussion and/or action in regard to approval of new visual and performing arts coordinator job description. CAO Jamie Blanchard. The recommendation is to approve new visual and performing arts coordinator job description as presented. 3.04, Policy, discussion and/or action in regard to separation notice due to temporary authority to teach, TAT, employment, and the vesting schedule within policy EGAC, employee health insurance, Superintendent Dr. Ritz. Recommendation, approve addition of the following statement to policy EGAC, employee health insurance, employees who receive a separation notice due to temporary authority to teach, TAT, certification, and are reemployed by the commencement of the following school year contract shall not be considered to have a break in service for the purposes of the Plaquemines Parish School Board vesting schedule for retirees as presented. Okay, so it looks like the only item that was pulled is 3.01, so I'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
3.02.
I'm sorry, thank you, 3.02. So 3.02 is pulled, so I'm asking for a motion to approve consent agenda items 3.01, 3.03, and 3.04.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Arbor.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Shelley. Any discussion? All in favor? Excuse me, let's signify approval by a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to 3.02, which is the Finance Committee item in regards to Plaquemines Parish Schools Work-Ready Internship Pilot. Ms. Blanchard.
Mr. President, do I need a motion?
Yeah, yes, we do.
No, they already
Thank you.
had one.
I'll second.
Thank you, thank you.
Wait, Mr. Barr said if we do not need one.
If it's already been brought and
To
pulled
committee.
to committee,
Okay.
it's
Oh,
she's free to discuss once
okay.
asked.
Thank you, Mr. Barr.
All right, good evening, board. So the first thing we want to do is really ground ourselves in the why, right? So why are we in pursuit of this new pilot called Plaquemines Parish Work-Ready Student Internships? So if you revisit and rewind back to January when we had our board convention, we talked about the updated accountability system for the state of Louisiana. Last June, the LDOE and the Board of Regents, and along with Bessie, really put their foot down and decided to update the language around what college readiness and career readiness means in the state of Louisiana. And so what I have for you tonight is just a revisiting of the new accountability scorecard that beginning in the fall of 2026, our schools will be graded by. So if you look at the third column of the scorecard, of course, the first two columns deal largely with assessment scores from LEAP. That third column, however, is severely going to impact our high schools and our graduates by updating the definition of college and career readiness. And so, of course, as per normal, we have our graduation rate that's meant to judge at what rate our students graduate successfully. whether or not our students receive a benchmark score on a nationally recognized exam. And then finally, that last row on the Thrive column deals with whether or not our students have met a college or career coursework accelerator, right? And so the percent of students in Louisiana right now that are meeting the new definition of college or career acceleration is at 23.5%. That's less than a fourth of our current graduates across the state of Louisiana meeting this new definition of college and career. When we drill down and look at what that college, career, or service accelerator means, students are able to get that accelerator or earn credit for that accelerator if they're a university student who reaches a national benchmark and has a slew of either dual enrollment or TOPS aligned AP courses, whether or not they make higher scores on the ACT, whether or not they pass CLEP exams. Our students, for the most part, have opportunities currently in place at their high schools in order to earn this university accelerator, this updated college readiness indicator. Our students across our 3 high schools have paths and have a means to achieve the service accelerator. Several of our students are not currently recognized as being service ready, but that's a great new thing that the department is going to begin to recognize, whether or not our students are service ready. Again, our students across our 3 campuses have a means by which to achieve that. What we're really looking to tweak now and to roll out with this pilot is to address the career accelerator portion of this scorecard. What is currently in place now at high schools, students are able to receive basic credentials. Students are able to receive advanced credentials. Students are even able to work towards a certificate of technical studies at largely at Nunes. What the new piece now that we're really having to pay attention to is that those credentials students are currently receiving will have to be coupled with an internship. Right, and so in those first 2 bullets under the middle column, you'll see that the basic and the advanced credentials now shall accompany an internship. Now, a long time ago in Plaquemines Parish, we used to have student workers in the summer. Yes, does everybody remember those? I want to make a very clear distinction for the community and for the board that this is not the same thing, right? This internship is highly focused and is part of Bulletin 741. The students are going to have to take a class for the internship and sit for a certain number of class hours. They're then going to have to transition into a work-based setting where they're really pushing to be fully onboarded as a full employee to get paychecks as per normal, like a normal employee would. They'll be clocking in and clocking out, reporting to a supervisor, and they shall receive X number of hours of work-based learning experience in order to fit the definition of internship that you see on the screen. So I really want to draw a distinction for you between what we would have done in the past several years ago, maybe pre-COVID, where just any student that was at a certain level in high school could apply over the summer to do like light summer work. This is drastically different and regimented by the Bulletin 741 that Bessie puts out, right? So we've worked across our departments at the central office. We've worked with transportation, we've worked with maintenance in our warehouse, with our professional assistant staff, and we've built out 5 job descriptions that we are ready to pilot this summer with your approval. We're looking at hiring no more than 10 students, and that's a really small number. It sounds pretty small when you think about access to career readiness, but we want to make sure we take a large enough step forward to get it right. This pilot will help to then roll out a fall cohort of internships, a spring cohort of internships, and a repeated summer cohort of internships for rising seniors, right? And so we have an application ready. We have, we're putting, like I said, taking a large step forward. And we've worked with counselors and teachers across the three high schools to really set some parameters up. But at the end of the day, the budget and the job descriptions have to be approved by you, the board. And so those are attached in your board docs, and I'll take any questions for those at this time.
No question from me, Ms. Blanchard, but just a statement. I want to point out that there is a budget that's in the attached documents,
Yes, sir.
and that number is $18,515, which I feel is a fantastic return on investment if that's all we have to spend from our budget in order to get our pilot program off the board or off the ground with 10 kids who will be work ready as soon as they finish everything. And plus, bonus points for us. We're checking boxes with the state of Louisiana, and of course, also pat on the back for us. We're leading the pack as far as doing this the right way with our kids based on the new, I want to emphasize that, the new requirements that we have from the state of Louisiana.
So, Mrs. Hesketh, I want to add a little caveat there for you. That would be considered like one semester of the summer. The idea is for the pilot is to repeat it in the fall, so that 18,000, maybe more kids, and then possibly more money, and then again repeat it in the spring, and that will be continuous year after year as long as this is in place. But I commend Ms. Blanchard for taking the risk. Let's try it right now with 10 kids that we can, sort of control the number and then go from there. So thank you, Ms. Blanchard.
Absolutely, and I'd like to echo the thanks to our supervisor of career and technical education, our counselors at the 3 high schools, some brave teachers that we've tasked with taking a few different classes to learn about how to teach kids for the in an internship setting. They've worked with Youth Force NOLA out of New Orleans. And so we've done a lot in the background, and we're, hesitant that is 10 too many, is 10 not enough, but we feel like we can make some smart decisions after we have this little pilot program moving forward. And really create a pipeline to serve ourselves as well as we're trying to, recruit and retain staff in all departments. This may turn into a wonderful opportunity to grow our own and hire these students long-term after their internship. It's also giving us a few more months to meet with business and partnerships. We're looking at the Ready Start Network first for our pre-educator student interns to work across our daycare system. And so know that it's not only going to be an internal Plaquemines Parish School Board internship. In the long run, we're going to venture out to local business and communities. But, one of the big aims, first and foremost, is to grow our own.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we need to get some of those community partners that just walked out of here and say, hey, we got this program going on, y'all.
They're on the list.
Good. Ms. Arbor, you pulled the item. Did you have anything else?
Is there an age limit or an age that it starts at or a grade level that it starts at?
Right now, we've designed the program to be for rising seniors. So that gives the student enough time to meet certain credentials across their freshman through junior year, and to take certain coursework that may interest them and line up. And so it could be for juniors in the future, right? But right now, while we're starting small, we're thinking that rising seniors are our target group of students. Also, because traditionally in Plaquemines Parish, many of our seniors leave half a day. And so this would give them an opportunity to make meaningful contributions in that second half of the day, should they not be dual enrolled at an institution or already at work or already doing other things.
Do they also do safety in the workplace? Is that part of the course?
It's part of the modules that are nested inside of that Youth Force NOLA curriculum that we're purchasing.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the hours, it's 112 hours over the span of each summer, fall, spring.
So that's correct. For summer right now, it's going to be in June and July, so it's going to be packed pretty tightly.
Oh, okay.
And then there is an opportunity to go for longer hours, but the minimum required hours is somewhere around 110.6. It's something very regimented in the bulletin, and so we round it up to 112, just in case. That's correct.
Combined.
That's only work hours. There's a significant 26 hours of class time, seat time that pairs with that for the necessary Carnegie unit, because we'll have to transcript the class as a Carnegie unit. And so those two together help to meet that Carnegie unit.
Okay, I was just wondering because I was like 112. Okay.
It's a little odd, right?
Yeah.
Not divisible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions?
I just want to be clear for budget purposes. Each cycle is 18,000. So June and July will be total.
So right now, the first pilot cycle for the summer will be 18,000. Depending on how that goes, we will come back to board for approval for fall. Yes,
So we
ma'am.
could have two.
It could be 20 kids next time, it could be 5 kids next time. It's gonna depend on how this first.
It's including the coach.
And that's including the hiring a teacher coach for those students to supervise their on-the-job performance.
Thank you for that clarification, because I was so confused. I was like,
It's only for June and July.
okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, y'all not giving these kids a lot of money. You're talking about 18,000, but that's
Not for a
okay.
year.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? All right, hearing no other questions or comments, I'd like to call this item to a vote. All in favor of approving this Work Ready pilot program budget and its job description signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate y'all coming in and expanding upon all that. Moving on, we will go to our other board action items, which is in section 4 of tonight's agenda. We'll start out with item 4.01, which is a student expulsion appeal. Superintendent Dr. Ritz.
Yes, sir. Normally, we would have it in this room, but due to the larger crowd, Mr. Tesfich has asked if we would have it someplace else. So they've set up upstairs. So hopefully it's ready for us by the time we get up there. So if we would like to call for an executive session at this time, we can go on upstairs.
Okay, do I hear a motion to go to executive session to hear this appeal?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Leonard, thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Sauer.
What time
All in
is it?
favor? Oh, excuse me, any comments or questions?
Time, sir? What time are we?
We haven't made a motion. We haven't approved the motion yet. So we have a motion and a second. We need to call for a vote. All in favor of going to executive session? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will enter to executive session at 5:46 PM. And Dr. Ritz, lead the way for where we need to go. All right, I'd like to call us back to regular session after exiting executive session at 6:41 PM. No decisions were made in executive session. Do I hear a motion to approve, or excuse me, do I hear a motion to return to regular session?
So offered.
Thank you, Mr. Lemay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Any comments, questions? Okay, all those in favor of returning to regular session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Okay, on the matter of the student expulsion appeal, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion in regards to student 23588 to affirm the action taken by the administration.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sauer and Ms. Linder. Any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call this matter to a vote. All those in favor of affirming the administration's decision in this matter, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is 4.02, discussion and/or action in regard to the approval of budget versus actuals general fund, March 2025. Ms. Catherine Phelan, CFO.
Tonight, we have the March financial statements for the general fund. The local revenue came in at 24% over budget. State revenue is still under budget by roughly a quarter. And that's essentially due to the MFP. MFP just comes in every month from the state. Federal revenue is still at a deficit by 66%. That will come in later in the month, later in the fiscal year. Our total revenues are 17.02% above budget. Expenditures are 31% below budget overall. We do have a few line items that are over budget, but the majority of the expenditures are under budget.
Do we have any questions?
No, because we can hear you now. No, I'm just joking. Ms. Phelan, I'm just joking. The only thing, I did have a question, in regards to, revenue. I know you said that our revenue is 17% higher, or there's a variance of 17% to the positive. The budget is for the year, but the money that came in is just money that came in up to March, correct?
Correct.
So we're 17% above where we would like to be, quote unquote, for the year already in March.
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we'd like to ask, unless there are any questions or comments, go ahead.
We did not have a motion to start discussion, so can I get a motion for this item?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Arborough.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Linder. Sorry, let's continue, Ms. Phelan.
Do we have any questions or comments regarding the March financial statements for the general fund?
Just thank you as usual.
You're welcome.
All right, any other comments, questions from the board or audience? All right, let's call this matter to a vote. All those in favor of approving the budget to actuals signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to 4.04, discussion and/or action in regard to approval of ad hoc and standing committee reports.
4.03.
Three.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. My notes are one number off.
Yeah.
Apologize. 4.03, discussion and/or action in regard to approval of a travel request for Boothville Venice Elementary School Junior Beta Club to attend the National Beta Convention, June 27th through 29th, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Superintendent, Dr. Ritz.
offer it.
Thank you, Mr. Lemay.
I'll second. Oh, Bobby. Bobby got it.
I'll go with Mr. Ingraham for the second. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Ms. Prout called me about 3 or 4 weeks ago and said that she has 1 or 2 students that will be attending a convention out of state. And what's going to happen is the parent themselves, they're going to drive themselves, and it's the child's parent that's the employee. So it's just confirming that they're going to be representing the school, and they're going to go on their expense as well. But I told her that it would be appropriate that the board knows that they're representing us out of state, although they're not using school board transportation or any expenses, and it's the parent who's taking the child. It's going to be, I thought it would be an easy, explanation for you to approve. You don't have elementary going out of town too often.
Right. Questions or comments by the board?
I say good luck.
I know.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, board or audience? All right,
I just one comment. Ms. Prout so wanted. She called last Friday. Did the board approve it? I said, "Oh, Ms. Prout, our meeting is next Thursday this time, not last Thursday." So she's anxious to hear your response.
Yeah, you can give her an update tomorrow or after the meeting if you so choose.
Will do.
She's watching.
Hey, hopefully. I like seeing those views. All right, moving on. Let's go to call this matter to a vote. All in favor of the Junior Beta Club, Boothville Venice Elementary item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now we'll get to 4.04, discussion and/or action in regard to the approval of ad hoc and standing committee reports. Nico Tesvich, Board President. Those minutes are in your board packet. They're not required to be read at a meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Turner,
I'll second.
and thank you, Ms. Sauer. Questions or comments in regards to those reports? Okay, again, I want to say thank you to Ms. Sauer and Ms. Arbor for being the chairs of those committees that you'll find in the committee reports.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, awesome. I like it. I like committee nights. Any questions or comments? Last call? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this item, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's go on to the minutes for our regular board meeting 4.05, discussion and/or action in regard to approval of minutes from the regular board meeting April 3rd, 2025, and minutes of the special board meeting April 17, 2025. Nico Tesvich, Board President. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So offered.
I'll
Thank you, Ms.
second.
Turner. Who was the second?
Me.
Ms. Shelley, thank you. Comments or questions from the board, the audience? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call this matter to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 4.06, discussion and/or action in regard to the approval of centralizing teachers' daycare services to 2 designated locations, one on the East Bank and one on the West Bank. Jeez. Superintendent Dr. Ritz and CAO Jamie Blanchard. Do I hear a motion to approve or discuss? Thank you, Ms. Turner.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Arborough. Ms. Blanchard, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. We'll have the few slides that I have pared down from what was originally in your board packet for the sake of time, and also for me to, as Dr. Ritz says, get to the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about. So as an overview, we currently have 3 PPSB operated child care centers in our district. The general stats of those centers are shown to you. Each center has 2 staff members. They service 6 toddlers, and it varies with how many infants those 2 staff members are able to oversee in that center. At South Plaquemines Child Care Center, which operates on the campus of South Plaque High School, we have 0 openings and 2 waitlisters. At Little Canes, which operates on the campus of South Plaquemines Elementary School, we have 14 waitlisters currently. And at Little Spartans, we have 10 waitlisters and only 1 opening. If you'll notice at Little Canes, we have 2 openings at that child care centers, but at current, all of the waitlisted families are declining to enroll. So what's happening is that, over the past few years, we've received grants from the State Department and the federal government to, help us address the desert of daycares, or the daycare desert that operates down the road and out on the East Bank, there is no access to childcare. And so with losing those state and federal funds, the seats that we have are tuition-based seats. And so the families that are on the wait list are all declining to enroll because they cannot afford, or they don't want to, put up the tuition for those childcare seats. We also at South Plaquemines Child Care Center, at Little Canes and at Little Spartans, all of our teachers pay $300 currently a month, which is extremely low cost for childcare, right? I should know we pay, upwards of $1,000, and that's even to family. So the cost for teachers to attract and recruit and retain high quality faculty members is available, and was the purpose of some of these sites. So when you break down all the numbers, right, we have 6 faculty members. That staff cost is $319,000, just over $319,972. We had rollover grant funds from 23-24, so that was $88,595. We had grant funding for 24 this school year. That was $75,376. The teacher payments for tuition totaled $39,000. And then we spent the local tax dollars of $117,001 towards staffing the PPSB operated early child care centers. Now, just to be clear, we can only use local dollars for these because as a school system, we are built to service pre-K through 12th grade students. And so we can't use any of our MFP money to offset these costs, right? This cost comes strictly from our local tax dollars, and it's spent with the intention of recruiting and retaining high quality staff. Those federal and state grants were a luxury that we've had for 2 years now, but as we know, in the current political climate, we cannot foresee any of that money being available for next year. So just to break it down again, we got over $163,971 in grant money that is going away for the 25-26 school year. That means somewhere in our local money, we would have to pick up over $280,000 in cost. Right?
So here's the proposal.
So what we are proposing to do is, since those federal funds are going away, we would like to really rethink the structure of early care in our districts. We would like to have one campus that would provide early child care for our teaching and professional staff at the south end of Plaquemines Parish. That would be our South Plaquemines Child Care Center. And then we would continue to have an early child care center, Little Spartans, which would be on the east bank of Plaquemines Parish. So South Plaquemines Child Care would now service the Learning Center, South Plaque High, South Plaque E, and Boothville. Right, all 4 of those campuses, if teachers had, need for child care services, they would have spots at South Plaquemines Child Care Center. At Phoenix High School, Little Spartans would remain open with 2 full-time staff members and up to 12 seats. By pooling our resources and realigning that structure, we can, instead of having 8 seats at one center and 8 seats at another center, we can combine that and more appropriately staff for 16 seats with 1 less faculty member, 1 less teacher, so that we would bring down the total cost of those 2 centers. We also would need to move tuition up to $450 per month for employees, or $800 if you have 2 children at the center. And that is so, again, it's less than half of what a normal daycare would charge for a family. So a huge recruitment tool still for our educators. Again, shifting the faculty together allows us to increase and more appropriately staff based on numbers. Infants you can only have 4 infants per teacher. You can only have 6 toddlers per teacher. And so having 3 teachers at that South Plaque Child Care Center, we would be able to, more appropriately staff what we have. All total, that expense would be $272,033. The teacher payments for the $450 tuition would account for $126,000, which is a substantial increase from what we're paying now. And then our local tax dollars would be responsible for the rest, which would total $146,033. Right, so we're still going up in expenses, but it's nowhere near the $280,000 that it would take to operate what we currently have.
Any questions? Any thoughts? We have to make a motion for questions, right? Do we have to make a motion?
Already did.
Okay, sorry.
Already made a motion. Second.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you for checking.
Let me, I gotta say this. When you talk about spending local money and providing services to kids, and I've always, been taught that teaching kids at an early age, helps them to learn and grow as they get older. So I don't like putting stipulations on where should we use money and where we shouldn't use money when it comes to, supplying the needs for our students. I really, in my heart, believe that we can lower the cost a little more for our teachers. That's just my opinion. We have money, and I think using it, to keep those kids in those centers, and they're learning. Those kids, and I can speak because, my granddaughter's is at the Little Spartans, and this little girl is learning so much that it just amazes me. So I know that it's a need for these kids to be at these centers, and I just don't think putting a stipulation or putting a dollar amount, it's just not sitting well with me. And I thought that, and I really, and that's just me, and I just feel like we have the money, and can't speak for everybody else, but we can put money in others, instances, we can put money into this. That's my opinion. I'm standing on it, and that's just that. And not because my daughter's in that daycare, but because I know there are kids that, we have teachers that have multiple kids, and $800 for 2 kids is not a lot of money, but in some instances, it is a lot of money, when it comes to what, employees are making. So, again, that's just me, and I'm standing on that.
Ms. Turner, just to explain, the reason why we have to separate the funds is because you understand how.
I get that.
Yes.
But you said local dollars.
Yeah,
We're
that's
talking
the
local.
money. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we can invest local dollars into this.
So it's local dollars, and the intent is to make sure that we have highly qualified staff in the school for the daycare centers at this point, since we're not getting the grant money any longer for the community children to come in. So where we used to have one daycare center for all the teachers, it was not allocated in the right area to accommodate the East Bank teachers. What we did find out from this grant is that the majority of the students who attended were teachers' children. So while it is additional cost for the district to have a second daycare with 2 additional staff members, which is local money, to actually fund for our school system, public school systems are meant to educate students in pre-K to 12th grade. The purpose of our daycare centers, in this case now without the grant money, is intended to provide teachers in the classroom. That is the true intent of these daycare centers now, because of the state has not allocated the grant money any longer. So now the funds that we get from the public tax dollars, the way we explain it is it's an incentive. When you have daycares that open at 6:30 in the morning and they have to be at South Plaquemines High School to teach in a classroom at 7:15, we have to have a daycare. We can easily justify, saying we have to spend some of our money as a taxpayer to make sure we can get teachers in the classrooms. So that's the reason why I make sure that I always explain, why do y'all do daycares? Y'all not supposed to be funding daycares. That's not what our tax dollars are for. So I like saying, for explaining to the public, that the reason why we use their tax dollars is to make sure that we can provide daycare we can provide daycare for the children of the teachers in hard to staff schools that is hard to get to because the daycares don't open in time for them to actually drop their children off to be at the school. It's a tough right now, even for Bell Chase Middle School, to leave Kate in the alleys at 6:30 to make it there for 7:10.
So it's tough. Can you imagine going to South Plaque E or South Plaque High, you know, and making sure. And then also for the teachers who live in the apartments with children, there's no daycare center down there.
Yeah.
So we would lose teachers who are living in those apartments down there without that. So once again, it is important that we use the public tax dollar to support our local dollars to support keeping teachers, which is our responsibility.
Let's clarify teachers. You're not paying for those babies to be in there. You're paying for the staffing.
We're using it as, yes ma'am, we're using it for the staff, yes ma'am, for the staff to make sure that we can keep staff in classrooms.
That's right.
So that's the intent. It's unfortunately without the state having the grants any longer, we can no longer really support the others, community children. We had it and we'd still keep it. We left it open all last year. But all 14 have declined because it would be at full pay. We can't just say that we want to have, without telling the community that we're going to use and have, okay, we're going to use public tax dollars now to supply daycares for just the community. We can't do that without notifying the taxpayers that that's how we're going to be using our funding. We're using our funding here for the sake of to get teachers in the classroom.
That's right.
That's the full intent of the original daycare. And we were able to open up the other two because of grants. The grants, the political climate, they're not guaranteeing it anymore. And we even left it open to a deficit this year. We just lucky we had rollover from the year before that it wasn't great deficit in regards to the numbers. But we can't continue to function that way and have the three because then you'll be picking up a $280,000 and just being fiscal stewards. I think it's important to keep Phoenix's open. Absolutely. I think it's important that we really consider consolidating the other two because it's a smarter use of staff. Just because when you staff infants from birth to 12 months old, you have to have certain quantity of adults. The same thing from 13 months all the way to 3 years old, different quantity of adults. So the staff numbers have to adjust. When you have them separated as two facilities, you're having to have one for the young ones, for the babies, and then one for the other. You have 4. If we condense, we can at least bring it down to 3. So we're asking for y'all to consider.
Also to note, we have 15 of the 16 spots currently spoken for at South Plaque Child Care Center. And so if we were, to leave that the way it is, we would have to rethink about configurations of staff regardless because 15 of those spots are, named and claimed right now.
I'm not saying increasing the spots. I'm saying lower the cost just a little bit. This is, we're doing this for the first time at Phoenix, and then we're combining it at, South
Thank you
Platte.
for bringing that back up.
Could we just lower the cost for right now? You know what I'm saying? And then, figure out a way to gradually put this on our teachers having to pay for this.
Just as a like a touch point, I asked Miss Trish to calculate how much would we have to charge people if we were to break even. It would be $325 a week per child per week, right? And so when we think about $450 a month, that's the price point we're going up to right now in the proposal. It's currently at $300 a month. So, we're going up $150 a month for that tuition cost, as opposed to $325 a week.
What do these programs look like at other districts around the state?
Very few, if any, other districts in the state have employee-based childcare.
So this is something special we do in Plaquemines.
This is absolutely something very special that we do in
But
Plaquemines
not just
Parish.
special, but necessary. I just want to state, we would have way less opportunity for recruiting teachers at some of the schools because they don't have childcare.
So offering this is a way we go above and beyond to make sure we have
It's
well-qualified
recruitment
teachers in
and
our
retention.
classrooms.
Recruitment and retention, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sort
It's
of built into
necessary.
the package with the transportation benefits and the housing benefits, the childcare benefits is really a deal people can't pass up sometimes. Any other questions?
With staffing, I know you said 15 out of the 16 seats. Is there a possibility that that seat will be filled prior?
Those 15 seats are based on the current faculty at the schools that have requested. So the early childhood department asked, polled the faculty of who would be needing services for next year. So if we get any new teachers, if we get any, depending on the age of the child, those seats can shift. And then remember, throughout the year, some of those students will age up into Head Start, right? And so we know that to start the year, unless the staffing situation changes, we have 15 seats spoken for, but those are not signed off on in stone, because we still have a few of those people that are TAT teachers that, we could hire a certified teacher in place that we might not need those spots. So as our staffing situation
Unfolds,
gets
yeah.
finalized, we can move a few things around.
Is it offered, could it be offered to other staff besides the teachers in the?
So the intent is to make sure we have teachers in the classroom. That is priority. When you talk about, there's, the statistics with the number of degreed personnel with a certain number, 1,000 people. So you're lowering your chances. We have a small community of about 23,000. So it's more important that we get the teacher in the classroom. We can find paraprofessionals a little bit easier than we can find the certified or even just a degreed personnel to get on the track to become a teacher. Right. So it's most imperative that we give priority to teacher spots. This year, with having South Plaquemines Elementary one open, we had so many empty spots. We did open it to anybody who come to help cover some of the costs, because we kept asking for the parents to come and kept asking, and no one wanted to take up on the offer. So then it was truly, we had allowed a grandchild to come of an employee. We allowed paraprofessionals to bring their kids. We just had to bring down our costs as best as possible. But priority will always go to the hard to staff positions, the teachers first, or the counselors and so forth like that will always be priority.
So it'd just be safe to keep that one seat empty.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And like I said, throughout the course of the year, a few of those students are going to age up into Head Start, and so then we'll have opportunities.
So cost of the program with tuition set at $450 is going to be $272,033.
Yep.
Okay.
Because again,
for 28 seats. Okay. So after tuition is paid, the district pays $9,715 per kid.
If you did the individual amount?
That's what I'm saying. Doing the individual amount. You're talking about 28 seats. Yeah. So it's $9,715 is what the district is paying.
We're not paying for kids. It's staffing, if I'm right?
Yes, you are. I think
we're not paying for kids, we're paying for staffing.
Yeah.
So we're giving them.
We're giving the money, this money's going towards the staffing, not the children.
Yeah, I think Mr. Tesfich is thinking that when you divide the cost up and how do you, the cost per child of what it would be figuratively, total, you mean, is what you're doing.
Yeah, so a staff member is paying out of pocket with this proposal $5,600 a year. The district's picking up $9,700 of that tab. In order to keep these daycares open as an incentive.
As an incentive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm just letting the community know as far as,
Not for the kids.
No, and I just want to clarify because like I said, Belle Chase Middle, they, a lot of them ask, why can't we have one? I have to explain. The schools, huh? Oh, I'm sorry.
Nico, I think you're checking math.
While he's checking his math, have to explain.
Local dollars is 146 divided by 20, 146,000.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Thank you.
It'd be about 5,000.
Thank you.
Once again, we don't do it at the other schools because there's daycares in the area. We need to provide a daycare in the areas where there's none to maintain teachers. So that's the explanation for other personnel in the district.
I think so couldn't we drop it a little bit and then look at it next year or the next year when we're not doing as well?
So the proposal is this. Y'all are the board members. Y'all will set the rate. Y'all will tell us. We're proposing to go down from 3 to 2. That's if you want to separate the votes now and say, okay, we can do that. So we need to notify staff members too and let them know what's going to be happening, get ready for the next year, and let the parents know. But if you want to take another meeting to set the rate and talk about it in finance committee or something like that, or if you want to set the rate as a committee right now, that's your decision to do that. this is what our recommendation was based on what current rates are with teachers in the north end are paying. Generally, they pay on a 4-week month, they're paying $970, and on a 5-week month for one child, they're paying $1,100 for a month. So we said, okay, $450, that's less than what you would be paying, you know, kind of thing. And to put it that way is what we had done to try and sort of break down. But once again, y'all are the board members, y'all have the constituents, y'all make the decision on that. We can only give a recommendation based on what we were doing, but it's up to y'all. So if y'all want to make the motions in the proposal, that's y'all.
Is this a tax exemption too? Like, is it withdrawn from their check and it doesn't, so that helps too?
Sheltered, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, but they won't be able to claim it on their taxes in the end.
Right.
Same thing. So it's either you get it on the front end of their, you know, being sheltered.
Right.
They just can't claim it on their income
Right.
tax then. Correct.
Are we able to go ahead and have it go down to the 2 daycare so that way y'all can start processing that? And can we put the amount back to Budget and Finance Committee?
I'd like to clarify too that they do receive a tax credit from the state of
Right.
Louisiana,
Yeah, as a child's tax credit, yes.
a school readiness tax credit
Oh, okay.
on their Louisiana state taxes.
Because the
Yeah.
dollar amount is
So
probably
it's
what needs to
kind
be
of
sorted
like
through more.
it's trickling down.
I think
like,
going down to
it looks
2
like a lot, but it
makes
trickles
more
down with
sense
those things.
with staffing.
So are you making a motion to defer the cost of the, or excuse me, not the tuition rate for the daycare centers to Budget and Finance?
I'm
No,
saying
we don't
to,
have to. We can
I'm
move
saying to
forward.
pass.
No, Ms. Turner, I
No,
think
no,
it
let's
was.
just,
I'd like to clarify what I'm saying.
oh, no, I'm just
Thank
saying,
you.
I rescind what I said, we can move forward on that.
I'd like to go ahead and bring it, like to approve the portion where we're talking about the 2 daycares, go down from 3 to 2. And I think that's more urgent to do right now because they need to start worrying about staffing.
Yeah, we need to tell people where they're going to be next year.
But
and
as
so
far
forth.
as the amount portion, we can move the amount that the teachers are paying back to Budget and Finance.
Okay. Okay. I had another question, but if you want
Go
to make
ahead.
that motion,
Oh, what's your
you want to
question?
pause on the motion? Okay.
I'll pause.
I know we heard that the grants went away. Is there any options for future grants,
Miss-
state or federal level?
Ms. Hayden?
So currently, that's something that legislature is debating right now. They have some House bills in which the governor's budget did give the state back birth to $3 and CCAP dollars, but as you know, last year there was a $10 million cut to that. So it will be up to legislators with House Bill 1 how they choose to put that money. The second thing for the grant funding that we're getting, it's no longer housed at Plaquemines Parish School Board. So previously, we did the eligibility process. We could ensure that our families got the birth to $3. This is now moving to the state. So we have no guarantee that Plaquemines Parish would receive the same number of seats that they have in the past. They would most likely go to Froggies or Kate Nally's or Awesome Angels or a private center as opposed to a school system. We have no guarantee that they wouldn't do that.
When did they come back with those numbers, though?
Yeah.
With the allocations, once the legislator votes on it.
What's,
So they
what's
have
the
it
House
when
bill
it's
number again?
House Bill 1
House Bill
is
1?
the governor's budget.
So we need to contact our representatives.
Yes, ma'am. So the other thing that's changing is currently we're paid upon enrollment. So one child could attend one day and we would get a full payment. So now that it's moving to the State Department, they're implementing a 74% attendance rate in order for us to get paid. So we'll get paid less money per day, and if the children don't attend, we don't get paid. So if you notice in the packet, we also give you some attendance rates, and that is why, because we would likely not get payment for those children if they did get that birth to 3 allocation from the state.
That was another thing too. For what they did with the CCAP the year before when they granted it, they gave the money for those who were there. Say they got it when they were 2 years old. They allowed the people who already had it, the children who already had it for the 3-year-old, but no new children were allowed to get the money. So they would allow them to finish. Well, when they looked at some at one of the at South Plaque E, we wouldn't have gotten money for it because they felt like around 70% attendance. So we wouldn't have gotten any money for because they weren't coming as often. One of them was coming one day a week. if that.
The great thing is that all of our teachers' children have about an 82% attendance rate, and so that will not be an issue for our teaching staff.
So also crunching the numbers, between 450 and 300 as being the tuition, you're talking about a yearly amount of $50,400. So if you would want to change and you want to send it back to committee and talk about it further, the total cost to the district is $50,400 if we choose 300 or 450 as the tuition number per month.
I think the amount should go back to committee. It's worth a discussion.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the, when HB1 comes up.
Yeah.
Last time it was up was April 14th. It's in appropriations right now.
Okay. So we've already heard a motion to approve.
Oh, May 12th, I'm sorry. The hearing is May 12th at 9 a.m.
We've already heard a motion and a second to approve centralizing the daycare services. Notice the agenda item does not mention tuition.
Correct.
So the tuition could be debated
Correct.
or discussed at a further
Yeah.
time. So I'd like to move forward. If there are no further comments or questions, I'd like to move forward with this motion and call it to question.
I'll make them, I'll second it.
We've already motioned. and
I'll second.
So I just got to call the question.
Couldn't hear.
All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, let's move forward with item 4.06, approving the centralizing of daycare services. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yes.
All right, moving on, 4.07, discussion and/or action. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry, I lost my thing. Here we go. Discussion and/or action in regard to a travel request for the BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp in Hot Springs, Arkansas, June 5th through 9th, 2025. Miss Millicent Roussel, BCHS cheer coach.
Mr. President, do we have to do them all differently, or can we just, because it's the same, is it different? But it has to be different because it's a different location.
It's different locations, and one
Different
is a
dates.
request for transportation. So
Oh,
that's why
I
we
see
gotta
now,
have it
okay.
separate. Yeah.
I see travel.
Okay, I'll make a motion on the first 4.07.
Thank you, Mr. Lemare.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Shelley.
Good evening.
All right, Ms. Roussel, go ahead.
Good evening. We are here, this is Mrs. Johnson, Ms. Tamika Johnson, the other coach at Belchase High School for cheer. We're here requesting permission to attend NCA Performance Camp, which is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We would leave June 5th and return June 9th. The camps, cheer camps, if you're not familiar, are camps in order for our cheer team to learn skills, and they start learning material that they would use throughout the year, and also anything that's new in terms of like, things are always changing in cheer. Skills, the legality of cheer, skills, and so they get to learn that. And we are asking to go to NCA camp, performance camp in Arkansas, June 5th through 9th. Our parents do provide the payment, or they pay for our cheerleaders to attend, and they will travel by charter bus that their parents also pay for.
All right, so it's not a request for money, just approval of travel.
Yes.
All right, any questions, comments, board members?
Please take my child.
Anything else? Audience? All right, hearing no other questions or comments or further discussion, I would like to move this over to a vote. All those in favor of approving the travel request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 4.08, discussion and/or action in regard to a travel request for BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp at the University of Alabama, June 27th through 29th, 2025. Millicent Roussel, BCHS cheer coach.
Okay, this is another camp that we would like to attend this year. This one is at the University of Alabama. It's by a different company. In cheer, there are different styles of cheer. And NCA and UCA are the two main companies. This is a UCA camp, and it's a master's camp, and it is skill-based only. So they will not learn like cheers and dances and things like that, only stunt skills. And we used to do 2 camps, but we would do one at home, and we feel like it's going to be a better opportunity for them to be in the presence of other great teams who match and surpass what they can do in order to get them prepared for their upcoming competitive season.
Questions or comments?
I'm glad you made that known, that they're not gonna learn any cheers there, because I don't want them coming home on the road tired. So I'm all for this, but I don't want them coming home on the road tired.
Good, Mr. Lemay, good one.
That's funny. Conditional, huh?
Yeah. Anything else? All right, all those in favor, I'm sorry, any other questions from the audience, comments from the audience? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, hold on, did I ask for a motion in a
No.
second on that one? I don't have it down, Ms.
You did not.
Duplessis.
You did
Okay.
not. I was
So
gonna
I'm
say
sorry,
second.
let's back up. Do I hear a motion to approve the travel request for 4.08?
I'll make a motion.
I
I'll
got
second.
Ms. Lindner and Ms. Sauer. Okay, and we already talked about it, so let's move on and vote on it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all. Last 4.09, discussion and/or action in regards to a request for school board approved transportation for BCHS cheerleaders to attend cheer camp at the aforementioned University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, June 27, 29, 2025. Millicent Roussel, BCHS cheer coach. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll
Ms.
second.
Turner,
I'll
Ms.
second.
Shelley. All right, now Ms. Roussel.
Okay, we would like to want permission, but request school board transportation to transport our team to Tuscaloosa. We typically would provide our own transportation, but since we are traveling twice, we would like to get a little bit of help in that regard, and I have to pay for another bus. So we would like to get transportation from the school board. It is a 4.5 hour or so travel time, and we think that that is something that our team could, handle. We've done it before for a football game, so we could handle it for cheer camp.
So, Dr. Rich, just a clarification, we do use school board transportation for other clubs and activities when
Yes,
they're
we
going
do.
to places, right?
Yes, but here's my invitation to find out. Generally, we because you have to pay a hotel for the bus driver. So you just have to decide and make sure you clarify for accounting who picks up the tab for the bus driver, the hotel, as well as the rate of pay. Most of the times it gets charged, like a football team, when they go out, they charge it to the football team's club account. So that's the only thing. So I just want to make sure, Ms. Roussel, were you asking for the school board to pick up the cost for the driver as well as the bus as the and the hotel stay for the bus driver, or were you asking
Just for the transportation.
just for the
itself, yes.
transportation?
In the past, when we've requested camps that were out of town, we took care of the cost of the hotel for the bus driver and their meals and things like that they.
So they're only asking for the bus
Got it.
itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification on that one.
It's all those little nuances, because I'll get a call from Andrea Dotson. Who pays for this?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Thank you, ladies, very much.
Other questions, comments?
I just want to say I want to thank them both for coming. A lot of times it's better for them to, board members, to see your faces when y'all ask for things, that they see that they're, they're really invested in their program.
I know they're invested. I see them at the games.
Good luck to the ladies this
Good luck.
summer.
Y'all have fun too.
All right, well, let's move on and vote on this.
Make a motion.
We already got our motion.
We got a motion.
We got it from Ms. Turner and Ms. Shell.
Oh, I apologize.
That's all right. Thank you for trying to keep me on track, though.
I'm
And
not,
sometimes I
I'm
can
not
make
on
a
track.
mistake.
I did, please.
All those in favor of approving this request for school board transportation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all, ladies. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Good luck.
Good luck, ladies.
Hope y'all learn a lot and go win another championship.
Yes.
All right, moving on our agenda, we're on information items. 5.0 was actually taken care of previously with item 4.06. Is there any further information needed on that one from our folks? No, there is not. Okay, so we're going to move on from 5.01. 5.02, third grade promotion update. Ms. Blanchard, I understand you have a little presentation for us.
It's just my voice this time, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we wanted to take a minute prior to the end of the school year to remind the board and the community watching about the new third grade promotion policy that was passed last year by the state legislature. This year, all third graders will be have been screened 3 times a year on a state-administered literacy screener called Dibble's Eighth. And their benchmark scores on that screener will now determine their promotion eligibility to 4th grade. And so a student has to score above the lowest achievement level on the Dibble's Eighth screener in order to be promoted to 4th grade. So in our district, we had about 39 students who scored at the well below level, which is the lowest level on the screener. By state policy, they will be retested 2 times, one in a few weeks before the end of the school year. They will have an opportunity to participate in our summer literacy camp over the summer, where they'll come in June and have intense remediation by high quality science of reading trained educators. And then they'll be retested a 3rd time. Many of these students have something that's built into the law called a good cause exemption. So any student that's at the well below level that has a good cause exemption, meaning they receive special education services, they're an English language learner, they have an IAP for their 504 accommodations. Any of these students that have previously been retained in kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade, those would be good cause promotions for 4th grade access, right? And so we have a very limited number of students that do not currently have good cause promotions. We're hoping that many of them will pull off the score needed to be promoted to 4th grade on this 2nd screening. They've been receiving intense remediation during the school day. And again, if they need to go through that 3rd screening, they will have access to our summer learning programs. Well, they'll come in and work with those high quality intensive remediation teachers. So again, it's not a popular topic. 3rd grade retention is not a popular topic. So I wanted to afford the community and you all, again, with a quick review of the new law. It's not a Plaquemines Parish policy. It's not a thing that we like, right? But our legislature has set forth those new requirements for 4th grade to be promoted to 4th grade. Do I have any questions around that policy?
Not about the more about the information. I
Sure.
know this isn't a board action, so we don't have to vote on this or anything.
Yes, sir.
But this information that was presented to us in the board packet that came
Yes,
from the
sir.
state of Louisiana, is that information going to be provided to 3rd grade parents?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's been provided to them at the beginning of the school year. They've all had access to Dibble's literacy nights on all of their campuses. They got a 2nd and 3rd notice from myself with the student report cards. We've sent J-call messages, and each of the students that are at the well below level received personal phone calls from the school literacy coaches and interventionists. They've made documented contact with each of those families to invite them to the Summer Learning Academy and to talk through 4th grade promotion requirements with those families. And so we have documentation that all of the families that are being affected currently know and have known for since middle of the year screener.
Yeah. So the district has done its part to inform.
I feel confident
Very good.
that no one, my goal was that no family should be blindsided by something like this. And so we even put a separate little call out on the report cards for what was that literacy score, separate and apart from their ELA grade, right? We called it out separately on the report card just to help communicate the importance of their reading ability.
Right.
Any questions?
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Blanchard. Appreciate that. The other information items we have, Dr. Ritz, is there any presentation or anything associated with those? Nothing, right?
Sales tax, Ms. Phelan, you have anything?
Not unless anyone has any questions or comments.
Yeah. For the sake of time, did any board members have any questions about any other information items?
No.
Okay. Hearing none there, let's move on to information and/or announcements. And again, for the sake of time, I won't call on each board member, just ask if anybody has anything they want to share with the public and/or the room.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Sammy Himes and his wife Brenda. They put on an amazing seafood lunch, raffle, dancing, music event in Port Sulphur YMCA on Sunday, and it honored the graduates for class of 2025, Phoenix, South Platte, and Belle Chase. So it was great. I know they put a lot of work into that, a lot of effort. They had tons of raffles, but it's just, wow.
We had a lot of kids this year.
There was a lot of kids.
A lot of
Mhm.
kids this year. So it was a pleasure to watch them all. And they were all engaging with each other. It was nice.
It was really nice. It just gives you that like good feeling.
Mhm.
So
Beautiful day too for it.
absolutely. That's all.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all the graduates of 2025. I look forward, I know we all look forward to attending and seeing their faces shining on the stage and moving forward in their lives. So congratulations to all of them.
And tears in the eyes of the parents.
Yes, yes.
Don't look at me.
Anything else, board members? All right. Well, let's move on to the time, date, and location of our next meeting. Next meeting is going to be Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Plaquemines Parish School Board at 6 p.m. Woodland Central Office, 1484 Woodland Highway, room 100, Belle Chase, Louisiana. We'll be in our same location where we are now. We'll be there then. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Financial disclosures are due May 15th. Did we do that already?
They all will end. They're all
Okay.
updated. Yes.
All right. Just wanted to
You were
make
one of
sure.
the first to send.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that, May 15th.
Thank you for keeping
I don't want nobody to get a fine.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I had to put that out there. 'Cause those fines are serious.
And if you need to talk to somebody and get it fixed, this is one she's the best.
She didn't fix mine, but look good.
No, to make sure you self straight.
I need a motion.
Oh,
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sauer. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Arborough. All those in favor of adjourning tonight's meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 7:32 p.m.
Good thing we started at 5 tonight.
Yeah.
Andrew.